Neil, Oliver, thank you so much for your time today. It's your first time at Chalke Valley. What are your first impressions?
Well, as I suspected, I have no idea where I am. That's my first impression. I've been talking to people all week about coming here, and they would say, "Where is Chalke Valley?" And I said, "I have no idea," and they didn't have any idea either. So I'm struck by how it seems to be a little lost valley somewhere in the general vicinity of Salisbury, but that's all I know.
That's all you know?
But it's lovely. You know, it's quite different from, I attend quite a lot of book festivals, and this one's a little bit different because it's combining history talks. It's exclusively about history, and then there's all the live history stuff going on as well, all the reenactors.
Well, you said you've been promoting your book on the Vikings. Would you say they are the greatest adventurers that we've ever seen?
I would arguably yes, because they were making their voyages at a time when the known world was still to be mapped. They were undertaking adventures where they didn't necessarily know where they were going to end up. They were sailing out into the North Atlantic, hopscotching from Norway to Shetland, to Orkney, to the Scottish mainland, then on to Faroe, Iceland and Greenland and North America. The Swedish Vikings were crossing the Baltic Sea, going into the great rivers, penetrating the European mainland from north to south. Those Swedish Vikings were in Constantinople, they were probably in Baghdad. They were sourcing Indian and Chinese silk, Arabic dirhams. The range, they understood no boundaries, no borders, and saw no limits to what was achievable.
So through your research for the book, how far did you understand how the Vikings lived? Was that a priority for you to sort of...
Yeah, we visited the Viking homelands. The Viking homelands are Denmark, Norway and Sweden, classically. The vast majority of Vikings did not ever go Viking. Viking's much more of a verb than a noun. It's something you do rather than something that you are. And it was only really a minority of Swedes or Norwegians or Danes who actually had the resources to get aboard a ship and to undertake any of these adventures. So for most of them, they lived the lives of farmers and fishermen, which were being lived by people in coastal locations all around Northern Europe. So in that way, most of the lifestyles of the Scandinavian people was broadly similar to that of people living their near neighbours. What did make them different for at least a couple of hundred years was they were the last peoples of Europe to adopt Christianity. So they were worshipping old gods and following different traditions, including animal sacrifice, possibly even human sacrifice, and they certainly revered a different set of gods, which marks them out as different people. They were, without doubt, wonderful mariners, wonderful seamen. We get from Old Norse the word keel for the spine of a ship. It was them who developed that way of shipbuilding, with the strength of it coming from a single timber. The word starboard is Norse. From the steerboard, most people are right-handed and steer a boat, a simple open boat, with an oar on the right-hand side. So it's the steering side, hence starboard. They were wonderful sailors, and it was that, apart from anything else, that equipped them to do what they did.
And obviously, on top of the Vikings, you've done a lot of work on sort of Scottish history. And what is it about Scottish history that fascinates you most?
For me, I like history to be, or I like to find a personal connection to history. So in that light, I'm always going to be drawn to Scotland's story, because I know that one way or another, my own family's story is an infinitesimal part of the story of Scotland. My grandfathers fought in the Great War, both of them survived that, and so when it came to studying Scotland's role in the First World War, it wasn't some abstract subject, it was an extension of my family's story. I find the story of Scotland to be fascinating because it's one of the oldest countries on earth. You know, Scotland established itself, over 1,000 years ago, and fought to maintain its own identity against various invaders down through the years. And also the Scots abroad, whatever's happened to Scotland at home, the Scots abroad are notoriously successful. They're an international success story, par excellence.
Yeah. And so you said you don't really know where we are at the moment. When you come to a place like this, do you feel very Scottish, particularly?
Well, I suppose there are certain aspects to what's going on here that do strike me as quintessentially English, in a way. You know, just the look of the place. You know,
the red chinos.
And it's you know, all the white marquees. You know, it's sort of suggestive. The backdrop's like, you know, 4 weddings and a funeral. I suppose rather than me feel Scottish, I suppose this part of England feels more English than most. I suppose.
Sure. And one very quick last one. Obviously, there's been a lot about Scottish independence at the moment, and you came out last year saying that it was dangerous to make any knee-jerk reactions about it. Where do you stand on?
Oh, I'm definitely pro-Union, pro-United Kingdom. Part of it is just in my nature. I'm not one for big changes. I tend to go with the status quo. I don't like moving house. You know, I used to get upset if I had to change school. I like things to stay as they are, and that's what drives it for me more than any. I'm not a very political person. I don't like the idea. For me, the possibility of breaking up Scotland and England is just like contemplating a divorce. And, you know, it's the children who suffer. I'd rather avoid it.
But how close do you think Scotland is?
If I was a betting man, I would say at the moment, if the referendum was to go ahead tomorrow, I would say it would be a comfortable 60-40 no.
60-40 go?
No.
Oh, no.
60-40 no against.
So we're in Chalke Valley. Anyway, Neil Oliver, thank you so much for your time.
Welcome.
Today.
You're welcome. Thank you.